You guys are watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. I am our draft expert here at Chat Sports. If you want more pure NFL-focused coverage, check out the Chat Sports YouTube channel at youtube.com/chatsportstv. That link will be in there in the comments and in the description. Our first question, Jeremiah Early. If TL, meaning Tyler Linderbaum, falls in the mid-teens, what would it cost straight up with still keeping our 24 this year and then still get the guard at 24? Okay. So you're trying to jump up from 56 to 16. Basically, it's not going to happen. Teams don't do that because it's just such an absurd. So I'll play some math here. Let's say it's 20-ish. You get to there, or 18, 19. You're giving up your first next year, your second this year, and at that point, you're still looking at needing to give up your third and your fourth. So in probably a second, it's no one's going to accept it for you to get an extra second. What you could try to do is take Linderbaum at 24, and if the guard slides back end of round one, try to go way up, but you're still probably going to be moving a future first in the end. From Mark, how far down could we trade and safely nab one of the top two guards if they happen to drop? I think we need some more higher picks in round 2 to 3. In the event that both guards are by some chance on the board, you can't move down very far. And the reason why is I'm looking at starting at pick number 21. Teams that could, not all of them will, but teams that could take a guard. The Patriots at 21. I don't think they do. That's a team to watch. The Packers at 22 and at 28. Dark horse is the Cardinals. I kind of doubt it. Then Dallas 24. Titans at 26. Prime guard destination. Bucks are a dark horse at 27. So if there's a guard gone already, I think you got to take them at where your spot is, and I don't think that both guards will be there. I hope I'm wrong there, but that's going to kind of be your key element there. From Drizzy Darrell, trade for Deebo Samuel. There it is. Look, I would love to add a player like Deebo, even though I have doubts about the coordinator's ability to maybe maximize him the way that the Niners did. There are some issues here. Deebo wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, which of course he does. That's very logical to me. So the trade would cost probably about what Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill cost you, your first and your second, and then you're going to pay Deebo Samuel, even if you're lucky, let's say $28 million a year. I think Catboy's doing that? Because I don't. I don't think Catboy has any interest in paying any receiver $25 to $30 million. Just no way. I don't see any scenario in which that actually goes down. So, look, I understand the desire to add a player like a Deebo Samuel to trade for somebody, but I think the cost in the end is it's going to be too exorbitant for, frankly, what I think many of us are willing to pay given the needs they have elsewhere on this roster. So I'm all for the conversation, but I would be surprised if the Cowboys ended up being aggressive and trying to trade for a player like Deebo. When it comes to trades, though, let me know in the comments section. Name a player who you want to trade for. This is the pinned comment on today's video. You know the deal by now. If the ad break comes, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. For Mark, any realistic defensive lineman you take over the two guards at 24? Good question. I don't like Karlaftis that much. Now, if you'd lost Tank Lawrence, I'd be singing a very different tune, but I want some real burst off the edge. I don't think any of the edges beyond Karlaftis are there or worth it, although he'll be around top 32 on my board. I would consider Jordan Davis. You could talk me into Devontae Wyatt, but I think I'd still take the guard just from a pure need perspective, and they won't have that difference of grades to justify going pure BPA at that point. Randy Stitz, Cowboys are not trading up in the first round. Will cost too much capital. I do feel trade up in the third or second round with 4 fifth-round picks. I would not be surprised if come day 2, Dallas gets aggressive. They do have those extra fifth-rounders. Not going to move them up that much in the second, a little bit in the third. But I think that day 2 range makes sense with a good aggressor. Remember, they once moved up for Tank Lawrence. Maybe something similar happens this year. King Shadow 24 doing a mock right now on PFM and Tyler Linderbaum. Maybe it is PFF. No, I know that PFN moved Linderbaum down on their rankings recently. Welcome to the nature of the Sims. Sometimes they're bad, and it's just kind of the nature of, yeah, the guy's not going to be there in real life, but he was in the sim, so he broke it. But every year there's guys we don't think are going to be there and end up being there. Nick Lanham, a center in the later rounds to keep an eye on. I don't know how later rounds will be, but I like Luke Fortner a lot out of Kentucky. That position flex of center guard makes it really interesting. Jeremy mentions Donovan West. I think that's a good later round name. I didn't love him. Didn't test the way I needed to for a guy with not the best power, but his 4th, 5th round is probably around right for him. So I like Fortner a lot. This center guard class, someone mentioned Cole Strange. It's a good one too. I think he goes a little bit earlier though. I don't have a great feel for how it falls. I don't like my board right now has a couple round 1-ish guys, Green and Johnson and Linderbaum, and then like 1 or 2 second round guys and like 5 third round guys. So the board isn't quite right if you don't go guard in round 1. You almost have to want to wait till round 3. King Shadow says Sky Moore, stop the count. He would love to get Sky Moore. I'm sure many of you guys would like to as well. I think Moore goes round 1 or early round 2, maybe not fall all the way down to 56, but who knows? The draft, weird stuff happens. If you haven't already, folks, make sure you're subscribed to Chat Sports. That is our core YouTube channel. Our NFL coverage is all right there. We'll be live for the entirety of the NFL draft. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Roger Moore, what round would you take Verone McKinley? So McKinley is going to be the type of player who I think coaches will like a lot more than the scouts. And he's a very intelligent player who is normally around the ball in the right spot. But his size and athletic abilities are lacking. So in the 4th, I think that's when you start having that conversation. But I don't think that the traits are what you want out of a premium pick, unfortunately. I like the player and the person, but I think he's just a little bit limited. Zach Taylor says Dicker, the kicker, who, by the way, I think he's better as a punter. Hot take. All right, J Buzz. Trade for Cooks, draft 2 O-lineman early, got to reinforce the wall. I'm on board with drafting offensive line early and often. Cool. Let's just take good ones. It can be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round, but you got to get help there. The Texans have extended Brandon Cooks, so no chance they trade him. That dream is dead. He's sticking around in Houston. Stephen Jones has given us a $5 super chat, and I know this is an imposter, not because the name is misspelled, but because Stephen Jones giving away money. Catboy would never, but Stephen Jones, with a V, I appreciate your super chat, my friend. From Skitscat, as highly unlikely as it is, what's the possibility of the Cowboys trading up deep for a top 10 and snagging Garrett Wilson? I mean, I think highly unlikely is a great way to describe it. I think you worry about the teams in the 8 to 11 range going receiver, right? Like the Falcons, the Jets, and the Commanders all showing interest in receivers. To get in the top 10, you're talking about moving your 1st-round pick next year. Like, I don't think that's going to go down in the end. Buckle up, 409. Could the Cowboys get Quinnen Williams or Mekhi Becton from the Jets? I think your path to, I'm saying there's a chance here, is if the Jets take a 1st-round pick at one of those two spots. If they take Jordan Davis or Devontae Wyatt, maybe you could get Quinnen Williams, who I am a huge fan of. I think he's one of the better young receivers in the NFL, or better young defensive linemen, in the NFL. But he would cost you your 1st and more. But I do it. I also don't think the Jets go D lineman. Becton, who I think that team is upset with, and his weight issues he had last year, 2020, when he barely played, if they take a tackle in round 1, like, they're going to, I think, move on from Mekhi Becton. Like, they're talking about extending George Fant right now and making him your left tackle. That would then leave open a tackle at right tackle draft pick. They have 2 guards already. So if they take a tackle early, there's a real chance Becton's done. So that might actually be the more realistic name. And if you worry about the weight, I get that. Could you play him at guard? He's pretty big for a guard. I don't know about that one. So I think Becton, though, is more realistic, and in theory could be your left tackle of the future. So pick one of these 2 for me. It's a good question, my friend. QW for Quinnen Williams, MB for Mekhi Becton. Let me know in the comments. Muology, a.k.a. Jay, says, tell Mitch in your best Peter Griffin voice, shut up, Meg. By the way, can't wait to see Terrence Steele take another step this year. Tom, best host. Thank you, Jace. Yeah, hopefully Steele does take that step forward. The Cowboys are counting on it since they said bye to Lyle Collins. Steele was not great as an undrafted rookie. Major step forward this year. I hope that continues. DeLunatic. After the Nahshon Wright pick, will Quinn get another one in Sam Williams? Go Cowboys. That seems to be the guy that I think Dan likes a lot this year. I think he's actually a good fit for what the Cowboys want to do. If you can trust the off-the-field stuff, that's very real. Wasn't just the Nahshon Wright pick, by the way. He was pretty involved in the Kelvin Joseph pick, too. But Quinn was the one who worked out Sam Williams. That is definitely a name to keep an eye out for come day 2 of the NFL Draft. Gabriel Vallis, what do you think about wide receiver David Bell? Pick 56. No. Not at pick 56. I have a late 3rd round grade on him. He's not the athlete that you need at receiver. I think the Cowboys receiving room is almost not fast enough as it is. Adding a 4.65 guy to that grouping doesn't make me good enough on that side of the ball. Mike Pena? Will the defense be better than last year is the question. I don't think so. Your defense was top 5, so you're hoping for more of the same. Like, your defense was awesome last year. Hoping it's going to get even better is probably asking for a little bit too much. What you're hoping is your offense doesn't collapse and your O-line can actually block when needed, unlike they were at the end of last season. Nick Lanham, is it possible to trade for Chris Lindstrom? And if so, what would it cost? That's the Falcons guard. I haven't paid attention to how good he's been doing. Their O-line sucks as it is. I think Lindstrom's one of their better players. So I'll double check, Nick, but I would say unlikely on that one. For daily Cowboys videos, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Justice Kellett, we need DeMarvin Leal in round 2. I don't like him there. I know A&M fans are going to be mad at me when they see my grades for people not named Kenyon Green this year. Leal was not the elite tester he needed to be to justify his tweener traits, and not great production. I got a 3rd on him, so it's not a terrible reach, but he's a defensive tackle for me. I actually think edge is probably where you got to go instead. King Shadow, I see the 3rd round Linderbaum mock in Twitter DMs. Maybe read it off. I'll pull it up real quick here, King. Hold on. So this is from the other super chat about Linderbaum going in the 3rd round. We got Kenyon Green, George Pickens, Sam Williams, Tyler Linderbaum, Jelani Woods, 1, 2, 3, another 3, and a 4th. Congrats, my friend. That is perhaps the most broken mock draft I've seen. Plus, you got my boy Marcus Jones, who they would never take, but who I love. Skitscat, just how pleasured would it make you to have Sam Williams and Micah Parsons beating up an offensive line? As long as Sam's off-the-field stuff is not accurate, which is a weird choice of your words considering what he was charged with and later dropped. The upside's there. I feel great about Williams on-field-wise in the 3rd. Late second's kind of like the opening of his range for me. Prediction time, folks. How many games will the Dallas Cowboys win? Get your predictions in for me in the comments section. Daniel Cash, what about Jalen Tolbert? I'd rather have him over Sky Moore. So I do like Tolbert. I've got Moore above him. They're both, I got an early 2nd on Moore. Let me double check my grade for Tolbert. I think it's a late 2. Got to scroll. Yeah, it's a 2nd, 3rd. grade on Tolbert. I like him. I think he's a little bit underrated. Great production against lesser competition. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like how I felt, not so much play style, but like grade-wise on Michael Gallup. And that's kind of like I get just similar like potential upside, not necessarily play style, but like value in the NFL of Gallup as I did Tolbert. Last one here from Nick McLean. What would we have to give up to acquire Josie Jewell? Just wondering. Besides Tyler Linderbaum, is there any Iowa players you like? Late day 3, I think. And surprise, there's no tight ends. Great point there, Jeremy. I think that Tyler Goodson, Spin Shady could make some sense. Beyond that, I'm looking at maybe you have interest in a Dane Belton, I think is the name of the safety. I haven't gotten to him all the way yet, but that could be a good one there. But yeah, it's not the best draft class for Iowa players, especially compared to recent years.